Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Crypto Jarhead. I've gotten a couple of questions about what would I do, like what is my plan? What am I going to do with my Thorn? And I had a different plan in mind originally until I came up with the idea to try and arbitrage the internal and external thorns, which it's not going to happen, guys. I highly doubt it's going to happen. I actually haven't checked the price of thorn right now, but I would be surprised, hopefully pleasantly so, if it has grown considerably. And no, it's actually fallen down a little bit, around 75 cents. Or right now it's trading for around 80 cents or so, but so yeah, I mean, if I had some more in my budget, I would buy right now. And in fact, I did just get paid, and I am going to have a couple $100 extra that not really doing anything with. So I may just go ahead and buy myself some more thorns, but maybe not. Anyway, here is my plan. I come up with this a few days ago when it was kind of starting to look maybe the arbitrage wasn't going to be possible. And unless Thorn drastically shoots up here next, by this time tomorrow, it's just not going to be possible. It's not really going to be worth it to attempt it. Now, here is my plan. Okay, I'm calling this the tiered long-term staking. Okay, and I do realize, of course, that if I waited until my last price point, I would have a whole lot larger of a stake. I understand that, but I'll go into why I'm going to be doing this at the end of the video here. So I'm going to start with 640 Thorn. That's what I have right now. I do currently have 50 in long-term staking, but I'm not even counting that because those I did not start for income. My first one was the promo that I started specifically just to get a chance at free referrals. And the other one I started as an experiment to kind of find out what the hell's going on. And, of course, Thorn came out an hour later and told us what was going on. But, whatever. You win some, you lose some. No big deal. Even without that 25 Thorn, I've got a plan. I'll be okay. So, I'm going to short-term stake, if I can freaking talk today, until Thorn hits $50. This is my first price point. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and start a 100 Thorn LTS. That's going to give me a total long-term stake value of $5,000. And my daily income at 1% is going to be $50. Now, keep in mind, lately, they've been paying well above 1%. But I like to plan kind of on, kind of like worst case scenario. So if they do bring it back up to that average of 1.5 like they were talking about, obviously I will get more cash to my pocket every day. But I'm not going to rely on that. They did say up to 1.5, which they've already broken that, by the way, a couple of times with the 2%, 1.88. If you've been following, they have broken that up to 1.5. But, that's okay. I am not complaining about that. So, it's going to bring me in $50 a day, and I will be withdrawing 100% of that. I will also start short-term staking the rest of my Thorn, right? So, that 540 Thorn, who the fuck? I don't even know who that is. Anyway, I'll be short-term staking the rest of my Thorn until it hits the $75 price point, guys. That's my second price point. I'm going to long-term stake another 100. That's going to bring my long-term staking value to 12.5 with a daily income of 125 bucks. And again, I'm withdrawing 100% of this, guys. Unless I've already pulled out my initial investment. As soon as I've pulled out my initial investment, I'm switching to the 75-25 plan. That is still happening. But I don't know when that's going to happen, so I'm basing, off of what I know and what I can plan for. Now, I could figure out very quickly how long it would take just at the $50 price point. How many days just off that it would take to recuperate my investment, and it wouldn't take long at all. But that is another topic for another time. Once that happens, I will be switching over to withdrawing 75% and withdrawing 25% to increase my daily income over time. And I do believe Thorn will be around for a little while. I don't think this is going to be another one of those 2 to 3 month long platforms. I think it's going to last a little bit longer than that. But just in case, I'm going to pull my money out up front. So that leaves me with 440 Thorn. I'm going to short-term stake again until it hits 100 bucks. And then I'm going to long-term stake another 100 to increase it to 22,500 with a daily income of 225. Again, at that 1% planning, it could be that 1.5, which would be significantly more. That'd be $337, which would be nice. I'm not going to complain on those days, but I'm not going to count on them. That's the point. I'm not counting on that. I'm just looking at an average of 1%. I think that is realistic. I think that is, it's still a lot. That's a lot, guys. You're looking at 28 to 31% a month, which lately we've been spoiled with platforms that are giving 45%, and they're great and they're awesome and they last like 3 fucking months. I'm fine with taking a little, that 28 to 31%, depending on obviously how many days are in that month. I'm fine with that if it means it's going to last a few months longer. Okay, I'm perfectly okay with that. Now I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I'm going to stake my remaining Thorn at this point until it hits 150, right? And then I'm going to long-term stake damn near every one I got. It's going to be 300, which will leave me with the 40 plus however many I've gotten from short-term staking. And that will bring up my long-term stake value to 67.5 with a daily income of 675 bucks. That's a pretty darn good day's wage, I think. And I will still have 40 plus whatever I got from staking, which I don't know, so I can't account for that. And what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to pump and dump the shit out of that. I know people don't believe in pump and dumping, but I'm just going to hold on to them. Okay, I'm going to continually put them in short-term staking, take them out of the circulation, thus helping Thorn and helping me get some more Thorn in my pocket. And once it hits 300 bucks, I'm going to sell remaining. Fuck out of here. Learn how to spell, dude. Damn. I'm going to sell the Thorn I have at $300. So that's what that's going to do for me. That's going to put like a $12,000 bonus in my pocket. That's a nice little chunk of change. And I'm going to use that probably to pay off like my existing auto loans, because I've got a car that I'm paying off. I've got a bike that I'm paying off, and shoot, I'll put a pretty big dent in my wife's car too. So that's going to pay down on some debt, it is what it is. Everyone's got bills to pay, and I'm going to go ahead and use my cash out to pay off my bills. And at that point, I will be lucky if I've got 100 Thorn at that point. So compare that to the, total supply. It's a drop in the bucket at that point. And I'm selling to people that are not trying to get appreciation of the token. If you're buying a token at $300 and you're expecting it to go up, except in very rare cases, I would not do that. If I'm buying a token at $300, it's because I'm just trying to get into the pure lending, which at that point it's probably too late and you're not going to be able to get it back before it closes, but hey, we got to sell to somebody. So this is my personal plan. This is what I'm doing, with my numbers, how much I'm looking to make, and the reason why I'm not going to just short-term stake until it hits $150 is because we don't know how long it's going to take to hit 150, and Thorn does have a lifespan. It may be a lot longer than some of the platforms that we've been used to lately, but it does have a lifespan. So if it doesn't hit that 150 mark 3 months before it ends, then it was all for nothing, guys. I could have just sold at 150 and been out and done with it. So starting at a lower price point and lending some of my coins is going to start putting some cash in my pocket, which is what it's all about, right? And I'm staggering them so that it's just increasing the amount that I'm putting in my pocket over time. And what I will be using, when I convert this to fiat, I'm not going to convert all of it to fiat. I'm probably only going to take about 10% for myself of this daily income. So, once I get to the final stage and I'm making $675 a day, 10% of that's going into my pocket. The rest is going to grow my business. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to be getting into other ICOs selectively. The market right now is kind of weird. I think everyone is for the most part just kind of waiting to see what the hell's going to happen with Thorn and Chrysos. There are a few other projects that look interesting. There's Mint Coin. There's a lot of people are talking about Monetize. I'm not sure on it. I haven't made up my mind one way or the other on it. So I'm not really going to discuss that one. I would have loved to have gotten into GMT, but kind of needed either Thorn or Chrysos to hit, give me a little something to get into it. So, it is what it is. Sometimes you don't get into everything you want, and that's fine. But once I'm making $675 a day, that will no longer be an issue because I'll have around $600 a day bookmarked for other crypto projects. So if there's something that I want to get into, I can at least afford to throw one day's worth of interest into it to see what happens, right? But I don't just do short-term planning. I do a lot of long-term planning, and I have a vision for where I want to be on January 1st of 2019. And I'll tell you one thing, it is not working. It is not working. I want to be at the point where I don't have to go to work every day, because of what I've made and what I've continued to make, has allowed me to stop doing working for someone else and making someone else rich, and focus on making myself rich and spending more time with my family. And my long-term plans don't involve crypto forever. I will probably always be in crypto in some form or another. But what I want to do long term is I want to move into other projects. Like I would like to get into some real estate projects. I'd like to get into some other stuff as well. So it's all about diversification, right? Spreading it around like peanut butter and jelly does not apply solely to the blockchain. But that is way off in the future. Cryptocurrency is where I'm planning to make my money that I can then afford to put into some other ventures. And how are we going to make money? By picking selective projects that are good, creating a plan for them, and following through with that plan. So, if anyone was curious, this is my personal plan. And I just came up with the tiered staking idea. I had something very similar. Most of my plans involve not just one big long-term stake, but several stakes over time. I just didn't really have a name for it. It just kind of made sense to me. And before, what I like to do in my plans is I liked to double my lending amount at a time. So In that case, I would have had to do, 100 Thorn at $50 and then 150 at 75 to double the amount. That would have put 10 grand into that, for a total of 15. But I'm kind of leaning towards more of the just gradually increasing, not necessarily double or triple what you're currently doing, but just gradually increasing over time to put more and more cash in your pocket. You're still supporting the platforms, and you're still getting some money up front. Now, obviously, if I took my 640 Thorn and just short-term staked it until it hit $150, I would have a much, much larger long-term stake initial investment. But I would rather start getting some cash out of this, But that's just me. Maybe you feel like taking the risk and waiting. And, I have zero doubt that it's going to hit 150. The only question is, when is that going to happen? I can't possibly know that, and you can't possibly know that. We can make some educated guesses, and I do think it'll hit 150 sooner rather than later. However, that's still up in the air. Now, what am I going to do if I miss one of these price points? Like, let's say I go to bed one night and I check Thorn before I go to bed, and it's, $70. And then the next day I wake up in the morning and it's trading at like 95. Well, in that case, I'm just going to start that stake, that price point. So in this case, I would stake that 100 at 95, right? Stake that 100 at 95, and then later that day or something, or whenever it crossed the 100, go ahead and start that stake. So it would increase how much I am staking, and that will put more money in my pocket, but I'm not going to skip any of these tiers here, right? I'm not going to do that. The only exception where I may do that would be the second to last tier. So, let's say I go on a camping trip like I like to do, and I'm out of pocket for a weekend. And before I go on the camping trip, it's hovering around 95, and I come back Sunday night, and it's already at 150. Well, in that case, yes, I would go ahead and do a $400 or a 400 Thorn long-term stake at 150. Don't have much of a choice there, But other than that, I will just go ahead and make the 100 long-term stake at these price points, or as close to above them as I can. As soon as I see that it's above it, I'm going to start my stake. So, with that in mind, this daily income may be off a little bit. And in fact, it will be off a little bit. There are going to be days where I make more than that. There are going to be days when I make less. That's the nature of the variable rate of interest, right? So, it's good to know approximately how much you'll be making. Now, Thorncoin did answer definitively that the value when you initiate is very, very critical to how much Thorn you receive from this interest. Then you do have to go ahead and turn around and sell that Thorn, which is fine. You will get the equivalent, so I'll get the equivalent of $50 a day at whatever value it's going at. So, generally speaking, as long as the price of Thorn goes above what I staked at, I'll get less than a Thorn a day, but I'll just turn around and sell that on the exchange. Not a big deal. I'll still get approximately $50. Might be a little bit less, might be a little bit more. It really depends on what the price is when I can actually turn around and sell it, which for me is going to probably involve, like, when I wake up, or whenever I happen to check on it for the day. And it may be a little bit more, maybe a little less, and that's okay. The point is that you're going to be withdrawing Thorn, or you're going to be receiving Thorn. You don't have to go and click withdraw. It just happens. So I'll be receiving Thorn every day, and you can turn around and send it to the exchange, either the internal or external, whichever you feel more comfortable with, and just go ahead and sell it for at the price it's trading for. That's how you're going to get the closest to the amount of money in Bitcoin as you should. So that is going to do it for this video. I tuned in today for Crypto Gems live stream. That was pretty good. I really enjoyed that. So I couldn't stay for the whole thing because I'm on daddy duty, so had to do that. But if you haven't checked one of those out, I would highly suggest that you do so. And I think Crypto Keeper, I think they were going to go straight from Crypto Gems to Crypto Keeper. That may have already happened. I'm not really sure on the time frame. But those guys both do live streams, and it was, it's a good experience because you can interact with other members of the Wolf Pack and Team Us live, and you guys can bounce ideas off of each other. I was chiming in a little bit where I could. If you have a question that you want answered right then and there, you can ask it in a live stream, and someone might have the answer. And you can do the same for other, fellow wolves. If you happen to know something that they're asking about, go ahead and hook them up. Let them know. It's all about sharing information and sharing knowledge. That's a great thing to have available to you. So if you haven't checked out any of those live streams, I would highly suggest doing so. And I'm considering doing one too. I would just have to, put on a shemagh or, put some tape over the camera or something, just because I really don't know how I feel about showing my face. I've got a kid, so that kind of changes everything, how I feel about, security. If it wasn't for that, I would have zero problem, no issues, wouldn't care. But, I am a dad, so I have to figure that into everything that I do. So, but if there's enough interest, let me know what you guys think about me doing a live stream, even if I'm not showing my face, so that way you could ask me questions and get an answer right then and there versus when I have to delay. I see all of your comments, but I might not see them for 3 or 4 hours because I'm just busy, doing everything. So, I do feel that there is a delay there. And I haven't run into too many questions that you guys have asked where I had to go find the answer. But it does happen occasionally. And if you ask me a question on a live stream that I don't know, I've got no problem saying, hey, I don't know, but I'll find out, and I will. So let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in something like that, and we'll work something out, and I'll schedule it in advance. It'll probably be on a Sunday because that's guaranteed a free day for me. I'll have my kid, so I might have to pause it and put on some music and go take care of something real quick. But it's okay because I'll at least be home and in an environment where I can schedule a time for this. So let me know what you guys think. That's all I got for today. Have a good night.